noisy little boxes with buttons and lights. What the truth is will be lost in the night.
It really sounds like a prophecy written in the 1950s or something, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. But it's actually, it's a rock lyric from the mid-2020s.
Which is wild to think about.
It hits a little too close to home. I mean, I was reading that line in the studio earlier, just sort of looking at my own phone, and I had this moment of realization.
The doom-scrolling realization.
Exactly. We aren't just scrolling. We're actually losing something. We are losing the truth in the glow of the screen.
And that is exactly where we're going today for this deep dive. We are looking at the L.E.D era of the band Sago Palms.
Yeah, which covers a pretty volatile chunk of time, roughly 2018 through 2026.
A really fascinating period for them.
And for you listening, we aren't just skimming the greatest hits here. We actually have the master lyric book in front of us.
Which is such a privilege to dig into.
It really is. It includes the work of Paul Mack, Nate Sam, and Brett Medina. But what I found really cool about the source is that the book also lists the tracks that didn't make the cut.
Right, the vault track.
Oh, the vault tracks, exactly.
Which is crucial context for understanding the whole era. You see titles in the vault like Chocolate Milk,
right,
which sounds completely innocent enough. But then right next to it is Suicide by Cigarette.
Suicide by Cigarette. I mean, I haven't heard a single note of that song, but I feel like I know exactly what it sounds like.
Oh, totally.
It sounds like giving up. It sounds incredibly bleak.
Or at least it sounds like the darker path. Right. And that's important context because the album we did get, L.E.D itself, feels like a deliberate rejection of that total darkness.
Yeah.
It explores the darkness, sure, but it's actively trying to find a way out.
So that is our mission today. We are going to treat these lyrics not just as pop or rock songs, but as a kind of survival manual.
I love that framing.
It feels like the band is writing a guide for navigating what they call the wild side of adulthood. It's this massive struggle between the anxiety of the modern world, the fog of war, as they call it, and this very quiet, persistent desire for good times.
It's essentially a conversation between two halves of the human brain right now.
Yeah.
You know, the half that is panicking because the world is on fire.
Right.
And the half that just wants to sit in the sun and be okay.
So I want to start with the panic, because if there's one thing that really drives the anxiety in these lyrics, it is the concept of time.
Time is absolutely the villain of the album in many ways.
There is this lyric in the track, No Solution, that seems to want to just solve the problem immediately.
Right, the presentism angle.
Yeah, it goes, time ticks by, but it's an illusion. Here and now is the only solution.
It's a really nice sentiment, isn't it? It's very Zen.
It is.
It's the classical philosophical idea of presentism. The past is gone, the future hasn't happened yet, so the only actual reality is right now.
But here's my issue with that, and I think the album actually struggles with this too. It is really hard to genuinely believe time is an illusion when you feel like you are running out of it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the lyrics completely acknowledge that contradiction. You can't just stay in that Zen state forever.
No, you can't.
Because the very next track, All I Could Ever Want, throws you right back into a crisis. It says, everybody goes, but not before your time. And then you get this incredibly pivotal image staring at the crossroads.
That crossroads imagery is so heavy, it explicitly says, only get one chance to go left or right.
Yeah.
That creates so much pressure. I mean, if time is an illusion, why does it feel like I have a gun to my head to make the right choice right this second?
That is the ultimate paradox of growing up, isn't it?
Yeah.
You are told by society to live in the moment, but you're also told that if you make one wrong turn at the crossroads, you ruin your entire life.
Yes.
And the lyrics directly mention this transition. They say, started out too young, left childhood behind.
That line really stuck with me. Left childhood behind. It implies such a strict point of no return. You have crossed a threshold and you can't go back.
And once you cross that threshold, you enter what the album calls the wild side.
Right.
In No Solution, the singer actually says, to get behind me, I've got a wild side.
Now, when they say wild side here, are we talking about, partying, rebellion? What does that actually look like in the text?
I really don't think it's just about partying. I think the wild side here is a psychological reaction to the immense pressure of the crossroads.
Interesting.
The lyrics describe a sonic implosion and self-imposed destruction. It feels much more like a defensive mechanism. It's the chaos you embrace because the safe structure of childhood has entirely collapsed.
So basically, you are standing at the crossroads. You are terrified of making the wrong choice, so you just decide to blow everything up instead.
In a way, yes. Or you just numb yourself to it. You actively embrace the noise to drown out the sound of the ticking clock.
Which brings us perfectly to the actual source of that noise in the modern era. We talked about the internal pressure of time, but the album spends a huge amount of energy on the external pressure.
The technology.
The technology, the noisy little boxes.
I love that description, and I wanted more so much.
It's so good. Noisy little boxes with buttons and lights. It makes our incredibly advanced smartphones sound like these primitive, annoying children's toys.
It deconstructs them perfectly.
But the consequence they describe isn't primitive at all. What the truth is, will be lost in the night.
That is a profoundly heavy epistemological claim for a rock song to make.
Okay, break that down for me. What do you mean?
Well, usually when we criticize phones in pop culture, we talk about wasted time or bad posture or whatever. But Sago Palms are saying something much scarier here.
Yeah.
They are saying that these devices actually create a fog of war. That's a direct quote from the same song, by the way.
Fog of war. That term usually refers to the literal confusion on a battlefield where you physically can't see the enemy through the smoke.
Precisely. And in the context of this album, the enemy is the confusion itself. The lyrics say, information is lost, and that we are willfully flying blind.
Wow.
The noisy little boxes aren't just distracting us from our chores, they are actively dismantling our ability to know what is fundamentally real.
That scene in No Solution really captures the interpersonal cost of that, too. You stare at the phone instead. A lack of reaction, total distraction.
It's heartbreaking.
It really is. It's that exact moment when you are sitting in a room with someone you love, but they aren't actually there. They're just gone. They are in the fog.
It's isolation heavily disguised as connection. And the album takes this critique even further when you look at You'll Be All Right. There is a line specifically about the younger generation. It goes, the kids are being ignored, locked in the schools and cars.
Locked in the schools and cars, that felt so incredibly claustrophobic to read in the lyric book.
Right.
It paints this vivid picture of us just living our entire lives in physical boxes, cars, classrooms, office cubicles, all while just staring into smaller digital boxes.
It strongly suggests we have been entirely cut off from the physical world. We are trapped in containers. And when you are trapped in a container like that, the fog of war wins.
Yeah.
You get anxious. You get depressed. You lose your mind.
So what is the antidote then? Because if the problem is boxes and fog, the solution can't just be a simple put the phone down.
The solution the songwriters offer is actually surprisingly sensory. It's light.
The Florida sunshine.
Yes. All right, the main refrain is literally, you just need to feel that Florida sunshine and you'll be all right.
Now, I have to play devil's advocate here for a second.
Go for it.
Isn't that a little simplistic? Just go outside and you'll be magically cured of modern anxiety.
On the absolute surface, sure. It sounds like a tourist bumper sticker. But you have to look at it in direct contrast to the buttons and lights.
Okay, right.
The buttons and lights are entirely artificial. They are frantic, and they are engineered to be confusing. The sunshine is physical. It's constant. It's real.
So it's more about physical grounding.
It's about fundamental biology. There is a line in the track Serpentine that says, use the sun for energy. I actually think they mean that quite literally.
Like photosynthesis for the soul.
Exactly. To survive the fog of war, you have to subject yourself to something tangibly real. You have to literally feel the heat on your skin just to remember that you exist outside of the digital network.
It's the ultimate binary choice of the entire album. You can choose to get lost in the night with your buttons, or you can choose to step into the sun.
And that specific choice determines whether you can handle the third major pillar of this album, which is other people.
Relationships.
Yeah.
Because you really can't navigate the wild side alone, but bringing other flawed people into your mess is always incredibly risky.
It is. And the LED era definitely doesn't shy away from how much that risk can hurt.
I want to talk about the track Why for a minute. Because for all the high-level philosophy about time and technology we just discussed, this song is just devastatingly small. It's a tiny, quiet little tragedy.
It really is. The imagery is very stark and stripped back. Silence in the room. We're staring at the moon.
It captures that horrible silence right after the fighting is finally done. And then the next part, we drove home without a sound, you said. Good night.
The absolute finality of that good night. It's chilling.
The lyrics literally mention a physical chill right there. Then you get a chill. It's that exact physical sensation of realizing that the person sitting right next to you is essentially a stranger now.
But here is what I find so fascinating about how the band handles this specific theme of heartbreak. You have the total devastation of why, but then later you have the perspective of figure it out.
Yeah.
And I would argue that Figure It Out is actually the most radical song on the entire album.
Why radical? Musically, it sounds like a fairly standard, pretty ballad.
It does, but look closely at the lyrics again. Our time is over now, followed immediately by It was beautiful and I love you more.
Right.
And then the absolute kicker, be glad that nobody did anything wrong.
Be glad that nobody did anything wrong. You know, you're completely right. That is incredibly rare.
It defies the genre conventions entirely.
It really does. Usually in any kind of breakup song, we desperately want a villain. The listener wants someone to blame. We want the singer to scream, you cheated, or you lied, or you never loved me.
Exactly. Because anger is so much easier than acceptance. Anger gives you momentum and energy. Acceptance just leaves you empty.
Wow, yeah.
But these lyrics are arguing for a deeply mature kind of grief. It openly acknowledges that a relationship can be profoundly beautiful and still just have an expiration date.
That ties right back to the time theme from earlier. Our time is over now. It doesn't mean the love was fake or a waste. It literally just means the clock ran out on it.
But the album is also very careful to warn us that not everyone reaches that level of emotional maturity. That's exactly where the song Hearts of the Innocent Fools comes in.
That title alone is so striking. Innocent Fools.
It acts as a warning label for the listener. The lyric goes, "We didn't know our love was a tool to twist us and tear us apart."
Oof. Our love was a tool. That is the very dark side of human connection.
It connects right back to the wild side and the shedding of childhood innocence. If you are an innocent fool, meaning if you haven't yet learned how to navigate the fog, your own love can be weaponized against you. You get used by people.
So you really have this wide spectrum of relationship outcomes. You have the sheer danger of being used in Hearts of the Innocent Fools. You have the cold, dead silence of why. And then you have that transcendent, peaceful acceptance of figure it out.
And navigating back and forth across that spectrum is arguably the hardest part of surviving the wild side.
So just to recap where we are, we have covered the existential terror of time. We've covered the digital confusion of the fog. And we've covered the brutal pain of heartbreak.
It sounds heavy when you list it all out.
It does. If I stopped reading the lyric book right there, I would think this was a relentlessly depressing record. But honestly, that wasn't my takeaway at all when I finished it.
No, and it definitely shouldn't be.
Yeah.
Because the actual thesis statement of the album isn't the misery itself. It's the resilience in the face of it.
It's the chorus of all I could ever want. I literally catch myself humming it around the house now. Good times and a long life. Take the bad in stride and run.
It's almost a stoic philosophy. Take the bad in stride. It specifically doesn't say to ignore the bad or to pretend the bad doesn't exist.
Right.
It says acknowledge the bad, accept it, and then keep running forward anyway.
And there is such a huge emphasis on personal agency and choice throughout these songs. We saw it with the choice between the buttons and lights versus the sunshine. And we see it again explicitly in You'll Be All Right.
The choice to move on.
Yeah. The lyric says, stop thinking about the way things could have been. And then it says, it's a choice.
It's a choice to see the negative.
Yeah.
That single line puts the responsibility squarely back on the listener.
It really does.
The fog of war is happening to us, yes.
Yeah.
The noisy boxes are actively trying to distract us, yes. But how we actually process that reality, that is entirely ours to control.
I also just really love the modesty of the core wish here. They aren't asking for money or fame or to conquer the world. They literally just want good times and a long life.
And they say, we'll live forever.
Which is funny, right? Because they spent the entire first half of the album telling us that time is an illusion and that we are rapidly running out of it. So how exactly can we live forever?
I really don't think they mean physically living forever in a biological sense. I think we'll live forever in You'll Be All Right is talking about the quality of the present moment.
Oh, I like that.
When you finally manage to step out of the fog and you put down the phone and you actually feel that sun on your face, that specific moment feels infinite. You have successfully cheated time, even if it's just for a second.
That is the good time that is actually worth running toward.
Exactly. It's about finding eternity in the present tense.
Before we wrap up this deep dive, I want to leave everyone listening with one final, slightly mind-bending thought that I'm still chewing on.
Oh, I know where you're going with this.
It's from a track we mentioned briefly earlier, Serpentine.
The metaphysical curveball of the album.
It really is. There is this lyric hidden in there that says, I see a place in my mind where we go after we die. And then it says, it's really not your first time.
It's really not your first time.
That line stalks me cold every single time I read it. If time is an illusion, like no solution explicitly says, Are Sago poems actually suggesting that this entire struggle, the crossroads, the heartbreak, the fog, is just a cycle, that we have literally done all of this before?
It's an incredibly powerful idea to end on. If it's truly not your first time, then logically you have survived this before. The heartbreak, the confusion, the anxiety, you have already beaten it in a past life or a past cycle of the universe.
And maybe realizing that fact is the actual key to finally feeling all right.
It certainly puts the chaos of the wild side into a much broader perspective. It's not the end of the world, it's just another go-around on the ride.
Well, whether it is your very first time here or your 1,000th time around, try to find some of that Florida sunshine today. Step out of the digital box for a minute.
And try to take the bad in stride.
Thanks for joining us for this deep dive into the lyrical world of Sago poems. We will catch you on the next one.